Hi, this is Debbie, and after yesterday's walkthrough of the December card kit from Sound Says Stamp, I wanted to jump straight in and use the stamp set from the kit. I just couldn't resist that cute little dog with his big pile of presents, and inspired by a recent card of Christina Werner's, which I'll link down below, I wanted to do a Distress Ink background with a masked off snowy slope. The stamp set is called Gifts of Love, and I'm planning out the design on a panel of white cardstock that I've cut from the white cardstock included in the kit. That panel is 3.5 by 5 inches, although later on I will cut that down slightly smaller. Having worked out where I want the images, I'm moving on to using the MISTI stamping tool. The magnets in the MISTI will keep the cardstock in place, allowing me to double stamp with Memento Tuxedo black ink. Stamping first, you do get a good impression, but being able to go back and stamp again means that you get really nice black outlines to your images. I'm going to clear heat emboss the lovely script sentiment from the set. So I'm treating the cardstock initially with some EK Success powder tool, which will mean that the embossing powder won't stick where I don't want it to. I can then ink the image with Versamark ink and then transfer that to some clear embossing powder and sprinkle that on. I'm also going to take one of the snowflake images from the set and stamp a few snowflakes on the background as well and clear emboss those. Having heat set the embossing powder, I've then cut a snowy slope from some masking paper, and then I can apply that to the bottom of the card so it looks like the dog is standing on the snowy bank. I've also stamped the dog and the presents on some masking paper, and then I'll trim those out and apply those over the top of the stamped images. The panel is now ready for a Distress Ink background, and I've sped everything up so my hands are flying, but it perhaps does give you an indication of how long it takes to create a background such as this. You want to really take it slowly, adding very light layers of colour. It's much easier to go back in and add more colour than it is to take it away if you've applied it too heavily. So I've started with spun sugar, and then I move on to peacock feathers, evergreen bough, a very light application of black soot, and eventually some highlights of seedless preserves. While I continue to blend in colour, I'll play some music and I'll be back soon. Distress inks reactivate with water, so I wanted to create some more snowy stars in my background, so I splattered the panel with some water, left it for a minute, and then lifted the colour with some tissue paper. I also wanted some more opaque white splatters, and so I took some Perfect Pearls, mixed it in a mini mister with some water, and then splattered that onto the panel. And now the fun part of lifting up the mask. I'm using a tissue to help keep the white areas clean because my fingers could still be inky. And I did make a bit of a mess of lifting up the mask. They did tear slightly, possibly because they were moist, having had the water and the Perfect Pearls splattered around. But eventually I did get them all up, and then it was time to move on to the Copic colouring. The colours I'm using are inspired by the Pinkfresh Studio pattern papers included in the December card kit. There are teals and blues and pops of red, and I wanted to use those colours, and also the fact that the images on the pattern papers, they've not coloured the images, they've only coloured the accessories. I've sped this section up so I can get as much of the Copic colouring in as possible without making the video too long. I'll play some music and I'll be back again shortly. I'm going to cut the panel down slightly with a stitched rectangle die, run that through my die cutting machine, and then using some of the remainder of the white card from the kit, I'm going to score and fold a white card base. I'm using some strips of 3M foam adhesive to attach the panel to the card base, and then the only thing left to do is to add some Wink of Stella to the present and the scarf, and also some Stardust stickles to the polka dots and the ribbon on the middle present. And that completes this card. I do think that dog is absolutely adorable. All the supplies I've used today will be listed down below in the YouTube description and also on my blog limedoodledesign.com. I'll leave you with some photographs, but if you've enjoyed today's video, please think about subscribing if you'd like to see more from me in the future.